each act of one who lives in it, forming as many divine lives. How it gives itself prey to the creature and lets her do with it whatever she wants. Difference between living in the divine will and being resigned to it. I am always in the arms of the divine fiat, and oh, how I feel the need of its life that breathes, palpitates, and circulates in my poor soul. Without it, I feel that everything dies for me. The light dies, the sanctity, the strength, the edge, even heaven itself, as if it would no longer belong to me. But as soon as I feel its life, everything rises again in me. The light rises with its beauty, which vivifies, purifies, and sanctifies. My Jesus himself rises again with all his works. Heaven rises, which the holy will encloses in my soul, as though inside a sacrarium, to make it all mine. So if I live in his will, everything is mine, nor can I lack anything. Therefore, O holy will, as I begin this 36th volume, I pray you, I beg you, I implore you not to leave me alone without you even for one instant, so that you yourself will speak, will write. You yourself will make known who you are, and how you want to be life of all in order to give your goods to all. If you let me do it, I won't be able to make you known as you want, because I am incapable. But if you do it, you will triumph. You will make yourself known, and will have your kingdom in the whole world. O holy will, eclipse with your power all the evils of the creatures. Put your almighty Basta one, so that they leave the way of sin and may find themselves on the way of your divine will. To you, Mama, Queen of the divine fiat, I consecrate this volume in a special way, so that your love, your maternity, may spread throughout these pages, to call your children to live together with you in that same will whose kingdom you possessed. And as I begin, kneeling at your feet, I implore your maternal blessing. So, while my mind was immersed in the divine fiat, my sweet Jesus, visiting my little soul with inexpressible goodness, told me, my blessed daughter of my will, how many wonders my will can make in the creature, as long as she gives it the first place and all the freedom to operate. My will takes the will, the word, the act that the creature wants to do, identifies them with itself, invests them with its creative virtue, pronounces its fiat, and forms out of them as many lives for as many existing creatures. See, you are asking in my will for its baptism for all newborn babies that will come to the light of day, and therefore for its life reigning in them. My will did not hesitate one instant. Immediately it pronounced its fiat, and formed as many of its lives for as many newborn babies coming to the light, baptizing them, as you wanted, with its light first, and then giving its life to each one of them. And if these newborn babies, for lack of correspondence or lack of knowledge, will not possess this life of ours, yet this life still remains for us, and we will have many divine lives that love us, glorify us, bless us, as we love within ourselves. These divine lives are our greatest glory, but they do not put aside the creature who gave our fiat the occasion to form so many of our lives, for as many newborn babies coming to the light. Rather, they keep her hidden within themselves to let her love as they love, and let her do what they do. Nor do they leave the newborn aside, but rather they are all eyes over them, guard them, defend them, to be able to rein in their souls. My daughter, who can tell you how much we love this creature who lives in our will. We love her so much that we place our will in her power, that she may do with it whatever she wants. If she wants to form lives of ours, we let her do that. If she wants to fill heaven and earth with our love, we give her the freedom to do it. So much so that she can make everyone tell us that they love us. Even in the tiny little bird that trills, warbles, and sings do we hear the I love you of one who lives in our will. If in the ardor of her love she wants to love more, she enters into our creative act, and she delights in creating for us new suns, heavens, and stars, making them say to us, without ever ceasing, I love you, I love you, taking on the role of narrator in narrating our glory. In our will, the creature's vision is sharp, and she is all attentiveness, all eyes, to see what we want and how she can love us more. My God, how many wonders, how many surprises are there in your will? Its sweet enchantment is such that one remains not only captivated, but as though embalmed, transformed into the very wonders of the fiat, in such a way that one wouldn't know how to get out. Afterwards, I was thinking to myself, but what is the difference between one who lives in the divine will, one who is resigned to the painful circumstances of life, and one who doesn't do the divine will at all? And my sweet Jesus, coming back, added, my blessed daughter, the difference is so great that there is no comparison at all. One who lives in my will has dominion over all, and we love her so much that we let her dominate even ourselves. And we are so pleased in seeing the littleness of the creature dominating us that we feel unusual joys, because we see that our will dominates in the creature and she dominates together with our will. And oh, how many times we let her win. Many times our joy is so great that we let our will win in the creature rather than in ourselves. Furthermore, by living in our will, by being in continuous contact with it, she acquires the divine senses. She acquires a sharp vision whose light is so penetrating and clear as to reach the point of becoming fixed in God, in whom she observes the divine mysteries. Our sanctity and our beauties become palpable for her, and she loves them and makes them her own. With this eye of light, she finds her Creator everywhere. There's nothing in which she does not find him. With his majesty and his love, he envelops the creature and makes her feel how much he loves her. In feeling loved, he loves her, and, oh, what unspeakable joys on both sides, as she feels loved and loves him in everything. She acquires the divine hearing, and immediately she hears what we want. She is always intent on listening to us, nor is there any need to repeat what we want again and again. A small sign is enough, and all is done. She acquires the divine sense of smell, and by just smelling she senses whether that which surrounds her is good and holy, and belongs to us. She acquires the divine sense of taste, so much so as to fill herself up with love and with all that is heaven. Finally, in our will she acquires our touch in such a way that everything is pure and holy, and there is no danger that even the slightest breath may shade her. All beautiful, lovely, and graceful is the one who lives in my fiat. On the other hand, one who is only resigned does not live in continuous contact with us. It can be said that she knows nothing about our Supreme Being. Her sight is so weak and sickly that it is painful for her even to look. She suffers from a last-stage myopia, such that she can hardly see even the most necessary objects. She can hardly hear. And how much it takes to make her listen to us, if she listens at all. Her sense of smell, taste, and touch sense what is human. They feed on what is earthly. They feel the touch of passions, the sweetness of mundane pleasures. And while she may do my will in painful circumstances and encounters, she does not feed on it every day, but when she has the occasion. My will offering her a sorrow. Oh, how weak, nervous, and sickly they grow, such as to arouse pity. Poor creature without my continuous will, how I pity her. Finally, as for one who is not even resigned, she is blind and deaf with no sense of smell at all. She loses her taste for anything that is good. She is a poor paralyzed one who cannot even help herself. She forms around herself a web of unhappiness and sins, such that she is unable to get out. Fiat, April 15th, 1938. The soul who lives in the divine volition by just breathing moves within the fiat. The whole celestial court feels her breath and motion within itself, as well as the conquering virtue, bearer of happiness, that she carries. Painful conditions in which the divine will finds itself when it is rejected. My poor mind flies in the divine volition as though toward its own center in order to rest, to lay down its guises and take in exchange the garments of its light, its breath, its heartbeat, its motion, which moves in everyone and everything and gives life to everyone and to everything. Now, while I was swimming in the sea of joys of the divine fiat, my always lovable Jesus, making his short little visit, with unspeakable love told me, "My little daughter of my will, how beautiful it is to live in my will. As the soul enters into it, so does she breathe with our own breathing, palpitates with our heartbeat, moves in our motion. She places herself in communion with all, and does what the angels, the saints, and all created things do, and makes everyone do what she does. The wonders contained in our will are astounding. The scenes are so touching as to make all stand at attention, to enjoy scenes so rare as to be enrapturing. And who knows what they would do to be spectators and enjoy such delightful scenes from one who lives in our will. Now, you must know that as the soul enters into it, she breathes, palpitates, and moves in our motion. But she does not lose her own breath, heartbeat, and motion, nor are they detached from ours. And since our will is present everywhere and circulates more than the breathing, heartbeat, and motion of all, what happens then? The angels and the saints, our very divinity and the whole creation, feel within them, together with my will, the breath and the heartbeat of the creature. They all feel her move in their motion, even to the center of their souls, which is replete with happiness, with unspeakable and new joys, of which this pilgrim soul is the bearer for each blessed. Not while enjoying herself, but while suffering and conquering by her free will. And she does so by even just breathing, palpitating and moving, and in the fullness of joy that she carries, because my volition never detaches its ever new joys even from a breath done in its will. And since there is her free will that forms the conquering act of the creature, it places in her act its new conquering taste, and oh, how delighted are the blessed, our very divinity, and the whole creation. And in their emphasis of love and the surge of their joy, they say, "Who is it that is breathing, palpitating and moving within us? Who, from the earth, is bringing us the conquering act of the pure joys, of new love, which we do not have in heaven and makes us so happy, increasing our love toward he who loves us so much?" And all in chorus they exclaim, "Ah, it is a soul who lives in the divine will on earth. What prodigies, what wonders, what enchanting scenes. A breath that breathes in all, even inside her Creator, that moves in all, even in the heavens, in the stars, in the sun, in the air, in the wind, in the sea. She takes everything in hand in her own motion and gives to God the love, the adoration, and everything that everyone should give him, but do not give him and have not given him. And she gives her God to all. His love, his will. She becomes the bearer of everything to God and of God to all. And even if not all creatures would take us, we remain equally loved and glorified, because the fullness of one act, of one motion in our will is such that the creatures and everything remain like many little drops of water before an immense ocean, or like many tiny little flames before the great light of the sun. Therefore, this motion, breath, and heartbeat of the creature in our will is superabundant over everything, embraces eternity, forming suns and most extensive seas that can give us everything. And if the other things still do not lose their life, they are so small in comparison that it is as if they did not exist. Oh, my will, how admirable, powerful, and lovable you are. The creature in you can give us anything, and we can give anything to her. She covers everything and everyone with your light. She makes love arise and gives us love for all. We can say she is the true repairer because when creatures offend us, we find that she can hide us in her love in order to love us, in her light in order to defend us, putting to flight by way of light those who want to wound us. Therefore, always take to heart the living in our will. Then he added, My daughter, our love for one who lives in our will is so great that as she breathes, she gives us everything we have done. The creation, the angels, the saints, our very supreme being, as homage, love, and glory for us. And we, taken by such excess of love, give her back what she has given us. So, as she exhales, she returns to us all that we are. As she inhales, we give her back what she gave us. Hence, we are in continuous relationship, and we exchange constant gifts. By this, we too keep in constant force our love and inseparability, as we cannot detach from each other, and we three feel such delight that we give her whatever she wants. But while I was feeling drowned in the divine volition, a thought was troubling me about my poor state, having to succumb to a sort of death every night for 50 years and more, and then being in need of others in order to get out of that state. My God, I feel a pain that you alone know how much it costs me, and only the fear of displeasing you and not doing your will makes me go on. Otherwise, who knows what I would do so as not to submit myself this? And my sweet Jesus ran toward me, and clasping me tight in his arms, told me, My good daughter, courage, do not afflict yourself too much. I don't want it. It is your Jesus who wants this state of yours so painful. This succumbing as if you were losing your life. I suffer it together with you, and true love cannot deny anything to the beloved. Besides, this state of yours, so painful, as though losing your life was necessary and wanted by my divine will. My will wanted to find in you the reparation, the requital, for the many deaths that creatures inflict upon it when they reject it, not giving it life within themselves. Submitting yourself for so long to this pain of death repaid my divine will for the many deaths suffered, and called it to kiss the human will in order to make peace. And this is why I was able to speak at length about my will in order to make it known, so that it may reign. Because I had one who was requiting me and repaying me for so many lives of mine, lost for them, and rejected from me, as though suffocated inside the inaccessible light of my will. In fact, you must know that my will runs in anything the creature does in order to give and form its life in her. But if she does not receive it, this life of mine dies for her. And do you think this is trivial, my great sorrow in seeing so many of my divine lives dead for them? Therefore, it was necessary to find one who, in some way, would repay me, so that I be on the attack again, to form my life in them. My will finds itself in the same condition of a poor mother who is about to give birth to her child, now due, but the baby is prevented from coming out to the light, remaining constrained inside her womb. Poor mother. She feels her baby dying in her own womb, and she dies of pain together with him. Such is my will. It feels within itself the birth of many divine lives already mature, which it wants to issue in order to give them to the creatures. But while it is about to deliver them, it feels. 2, the most holy Trinity and the soul. 3, the most holy Trinity. Them being pushed back into its bosom. The new life dies for my will, and my will too dies together with it, because without my will there cannot be true life of sanctity, of love, or of anything belonging to our divine life. Therefore, my daughter, calm yourself and don't think about it anymore. If we have done this, we did so with the highest wisdom, with love, which we could not contain, and for the sake of the order that we maintain in our way of operating. Therefore it is necessary to bow one's forehead and adore what we dispose for love of the creatures. Fiat. April 20th, 1938. How Jesus' word on the cross, CTO 4, still continues to cry out to each heart, I thirst. How the true resurrection consists in rising again in the divine will. How nothing is denied to one who lives in it. My flight in the divine will continues, and I feel the need to make everything it has done my own, placing there my little love, my affectionate kisses, my profound adoration, and my thank you for everything he did and suffered, for me and for all. As I reached the point when my dear Jesus was crucified and lifted up on the cross amid atrocious spasms and unspeakable pains, with a tender and moving tone, such that I felt my heart split, he told me, My good daughter, the pain that most pierced me on the cross was my ardent thirst. I felt I was burning alive. All the vital humors had gone out through my wounds, which, like many mouths, were burning and wanted to quench their ardent thirst. So much so that, unable to contain myself, I cried out, I thirst! This I thirst remained always an act of saying, I thirst. I never stopped saying it. With my open wounds, with my parched lips, I am always repeating, I am burning, I thirst. Oh, please give me a little drop of your love to give a little refreshment to my ardent thirst. So, in everything the creature does, I keep repeating to her with my mouth opened and burning, let me drink. I am burning with thirst. My dislocated and wounded humanity had only one cry, I thirst. Therefore, as the creature walks, I cry out to her steps with my parched mouth, give me your steps, done for love of me to quench my thirst. If she works, I ask for her works, done only for love of me, as refreshment for my ardent thirst. If she speaks, I ask for her words. If she thinks, I ask for her thoughts, like many little drops of love to refresh my ardent thirst. It was not just my mouth that was burning, but the whole of my most holy humanity felt the extreme need of a refreshing bath for the ardent fire of love that burned me. And since it was for the creatures that I was burning amid excruciating pains, only creatures with their love could quench my ardent thirst and give a refreshing bath to my humanity. Now, I left this cry, I thirst, inside my will, and I made the commitment to make it resound each instant in the creatures' ears, to move them to compassion for my ardent thirst, to give them my bath of love and receive their own, be it even tiny little drops, as refreshment for the thirst that devours me. But who listens to me? Who has compassion for me? Only one who lives in my will. All others play deaf, and with their ingratitude maybe they increase my thirst, which makes me restless and with no hope of refreshment. And not only my I thirst, but everything I did and said in my will is always an act of saying to my sorrowful Mama, Mother, behold your children, and I place her at their side as help and guide, to be loved by them as her children. In each instant, she feels she is being placed at the side of her children by her son, and, oh, how she loves them as mother, and gives them her maternity, to make me loved as she loves me. Not only this, but by giving her maternity, she places perfect love amid creatures, so that they may love one another with maternal love, which is love of sacrifice, unselfish love, constant love. But who receives all this? Good? Only one who lives in our fiat feels the maternity of the Queen. It can be said that she places her maternal heart into her children's mouths, that they may suckle and receive the maternity of her love, the sweetnesses and all the qualities with which her maternal heart is enriched. My daughter, one who wants to find us, one who wants to receive all our goods, and my very mother, must enter into our will and remain inside of it. Our will is not only life of ours, but with its immensity, It forms around us our own dwelling, in which it maintains all our acts, words, and all that we are, always in act. Our things do not go out of our will. One who wants them must be content with living life together with it. Then everything is hers. Nothing is denied to her. If we want to give our things to her, but she does not live in our will, she will not appreciate them, nor love them. She will not feel the right to make them her own, and when things are not made one's own, love does not arise, and it dies. After this, I continued my round in everything that our Lord did on earth, and I paused in the act of the resurrection. What triumph, what glory! Heaven poured itself upon earth to be spectator of such a great glory. And my beloved Jesus continued, "My daughter, in my resurrection the right was given to creatures to rise again in me to new life. It was the confirmation, the seal of my whole life, of my works, of my words, and of the fact that if I came upon earth, it was to give myself to each and every one as life belonging to them. My resurrection was the triumph of all, and the new conquest that all were making of he who had died for all, to give them life and make them rise again in my own resurrection. But do you want to know where is the real resurrection of the creature? Not at the end of time, but while she is still living on earth. One who lives in my will rises again to light and can say, 'My night is over.' She rises again in the love of her Creator, in such a way that there is no more cold or frost for her, but she feels the smile of the heavenly spring. She rises again to sanctity, which puts to rushed flight all weaknesses, miseries, and passions. She rises again to all that is heaven, and if she looks at the earth, heavens, and sun, she does so to find the works of her Creator, to have the occasion to narrate to him his glory and his long love story. Therefore, one who lives in my will can say, as the angel said to the holy women when they went to the sepulchre, 'He is risen, he is not here any more.' One who lives in my will can likewise say, 'My will is not with me any longer, it is risen again in the fiat.' And if the circumstances of life, the occasions, the pains, surround the creature as though looking for her will, she can answer, 'My will is risen again. It is not in my power anymore. I possess in exchange the divine will, and with its light I want to invest all things around me as circumstances and pains, to make of them as many divine conquests.' The soul who lives in our will finds life in the acts of her Jesus, and our operating, conquering, triumphant will always runs within her. She gives us so much glory that heaven cannot contain it. Therefore, live always in our will, never go out of it, if you want to be our triumph and our glory." Fiat, April 25th, 1938. The sign that the divine will reigns in the soul is her feeling the need to love it incessantly. The great evil of not doing good in the divine will, the little flame nourished by the great light of God. My poor mind runs, flies in the divine fiat, and if I don't do this, I feel restless, without strength, without nourishment, with no air to breathe. I feel I have no feet to walk, no hands to operate, no heart to love, and therefore I feel the need to run into his will in order to find its acts, so as to form with them feet that run, hands that embrace everything and operate, love without a heart 5, which takes the love of the eternal, never to cease loving. But while I was thinking all this nonsense, my always lovable Jesus, repeating his short little visit, pleased with my nonsense, all love told me, "My blessed daughter, don't be surprised by your nonsense. This is precisely what happens. One who lives in my will leaves her own being, and her will, entering into mine, makes use of our works in order to form for herself the new members needed to live in it. Therefore she acquires new steps, new motions, new love, to be able to identify herself with our works and do what we do. Hence, the surest sign that my divine will reigns and dominates in the soul is the continuous motion of love. And since she knows that she doesn't have a love that never ceases, nor a multiplicity of works to give me in order to love me, what does she do? She enters into the endless boundaries of my will, sees the great theater of creation, the sumptuousness and opulence of the love with which all things are invested. And she runs from one work of ours to another, gathering all our love that we spread in the whole creation. She places it as though on her lap, and comes before our majesty to give us many distinct varieties of love that we placed in the creation. Then she makes her own notes of love resound within the varied notes of love of our creative love. And, oh, the contentments she gives us, the feasts she opens for us between heaven and earth, the seas of love with which she surrounds our throne. Then, after she has made for us the feast of all creation, in order to love us more and with doubled love, she descends from our throne and goes around, spreading again, over all created things, our love redoubled, and with the power of our will that she holds in her power, she makes all say, love, love to our Creator. We can call the creature who lives in our will our continuous feast, the outpouring of our love. Then he added with a note of sadness, my daughter, how low the creature sinks when she does not live in our will. Even if she does good, lacking the light of our will and the strength of our sanctity, the good she does remains covered with smoke, which blinds her vision and produces self-esteem, vainglory, love of self. It can be said that this good remains poisoned in such a way as to be incapable of producing any real benefit either for oneself or for others.